to our first Issues and Eggs of the Culver City Chamber. And we're excited to have you here today for such a wonderful occasion. We've got 7 candidates here running for City Council, and we're really excited to have them all here today and have them be able to state their views. So today's forum, actually, it promises to be very fast-paced because we have so many, and it should be educational for everyone that's in attendance. Our program on each chair, it lists the rules of the forum for today, as well as the results of an online survey that the candidates received participated in over the weekend. We're also videotaping this forum, and it will be available on the internet. So when you saw the paper plates and the paper cups, it's not the DoubleTree can't have glass. It's because we are looking to eliminate sound. Actually, I'm sorry, the courtyard. All right. So we are trying to eliminate noise by any shuffling of papers as well. We ask that you refrain from talking, clapping, or making noise. I ask that you also please mute your cell phones also for the proceedings as well. And for the candidates, I'm sure that they're doing the same thing. So our timekeeper today is Michael Hamill. Michael, if you would stand. Michael is the chair of the Culver City PAC, of the Chamber's Culver City PAC, and he'll be giving a 10-second warning, actually, for all of the candidates and a stop time. And we are providing large boards with the questions, so I won't be repeating the questions. I will state the question once. The candidates will be able to see the question, and that'll be provided and held by Rich Kissel. And Rich is the chair of the Chamber's Governmental Affairs, and our video recorder is the immediate past chair of the chamber, Kevin Lockout, who's standing behind you. And I did not introduce myself. I'm actually Colette Moore, and I'm the chair of the chamber for 2016. So. And so the order of the speaking today was actually accomplished by a randomizer. It's called random.com. And the only criteria is that each candidate will answer one question first, and they will be the last to answer a question. And all others are actually by random choice. And so let's now get started. And we have an exciting, fast-paced statement will be the first thing. So we have a 1-minute statement by each candidate. And our first speaker, we're going to start at the far end and slide all the way down for the first question. And it will be a 1-minute opening statement starting with Daniel.
Okay, thank you. 1 minute and going up first. Wow. My name is Daniel Lee. I'm a veteran. I am a filmmaker. I'm a social worker, and I'm a 13-year resident of Culver City. I've spent the last 5 years on the Culver City Martin Luther King Jr. Celebration Committee, and I've volunteered for the Young Storytellers program at El Rincon Elementary since 2005. One thing I should say is I'm older than I look. I'm 36. Not that I think age is that important, but I think it's worth saying. I think the last thing I should say is that much of my involvement, community involvement, aside from Young Storytellers and community and the MLK committee, has been outside of Los Angeles. Outside of Culver City in Los Angeles. So I can talk a bit more about that one-on-one.
Good morning. I'd like to thank the Chamber for hosting this event and for inviting all of us to attend. In just 1 minute, it's hard to summarize why I'm running for City Council and why I hope I can earn your endorsement. But as you all know, we live in an incredible place filled with cutting-edge technology companies and amazing small businesses. We have great schools, park systems, city services. But we also face many challenges, such as rapidly escalating retirement costs, mandated urban runoff cleanup, increased recycling rates, and sustainability. We need leaders who are willing to think out of the box and generate new revenue streams instead of simply increasing taxes. We need leaders who know what it takes to retain and attain businesses. We need leaders who can safeguard our financial resources and who can spend them wisely. I believe I represent the experienced financial knowledge and innovation thinking, and I think we can...
That's a stop. Okay, that's a stop. Thank you. Can I have the mic up just a minute? All right, our next candidate is Thomas.
Well, I'd like to thank the Chamber for the fantastic work that it does. It's an honor to be here with you today. My interest here at Culver City is development primarily, is the first thing I want to talk about. I write about architecture for a living, and I've worked on many large developments throughout the country and throughout the world. And I'd like to help the many developments that are happening here in Culver City that will be happening in the future to truly be excellent. And to improve the quality of the environment in our city for everyone who lives here. Going right along with that is the creative economy. I think that if we can make these developments excellent, it'll help us attract more creative and high-tech businesses that can help drive our economy and help fuel everything else that we need to do. The transportation is a key aspect of that. In transportation design, we talk about the last mile, how people get to the train. I can help improve it. I can help improve it for our families, for our schools, and I can help improve our audio technology.
Good morning. My name is Scott Wyant. I want to thank you all. Right there. Good morning, my name is Scott Wyant. I want to thank everybody for being here. Thanks to the Chamber for the opportunity to speak to you. My campaign has three themes. The first is planning for the next 100 years. The second is growth with heart. And the third is to keep Culver City working. Planning for the next 100 years. I am a two-term planning commissioner. I have a long career at the forefront of technology and media. I'm uniquely prepared for the opportunities and the challenges that Culver City faces. Growth with heart for me. This means that we must protect our neighborhoods and the values that brought us all to Culver City here to begin with, while we welcome new neighbors and businesses who share those values. Finally, keep Culver City working. Our exemplary public schools, police and fire are outstanding parts and public services in our vibrant business community. These create the quality of life we enjoy, and I am committed to maintaining them. I am uniquely qualified for this job, and I seek your endorsement, and more importantly, I seek your vote. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Marcus Tiggs. I'm a 25-year resident of Culver City. I've been active in the community, former planning commissioner, 2 terms as well. I'm the current chair of the Fiesta La Bayona Committee. I've been on that committee for 12 years. I am a retired Lieutenant Colonel of the U.S. Army, and I am a combat veteran. What I do for a living right now, I'm a bankruptcy lawyer. I'm an insolvency professional, so I see business people regularly. I see the challenges that businesses have, some of which relate to cities being unfriendly. I believe our city can be and should be more friendly to business. 40% of our general fund comes from retail sales. So while bringing creative space to Culver City is fantastic, we still need to think about the brick and mortar. And if I receive your endorsement, I will be a champion of those things. Thank you.
Good morning, Chamber. Thank you for having us all here today. You might notice that there's something that distinguishes me from everybody else who's running. I'm the only incumbent. That's right. It's been an absolute honor to serve Culver City for the past 4 years. And if you joined me at the Mayor's Luncheon, you would have seen the outstanding achievements that we collectively have been able to make as a city. Together with my colleagues, we've made Culver City a healthy, safe, sustainable community with a thriving economy. And I look forward to building upon that momentum for another 4 years. I'm glad you've changed the format of this forum, and so I wanted to thank you for bringing in this fresh new way to share our thoughts with the community. Thank you.
Good morning, Chamber. I'm Jay Garacochea, 20-year resident of Culver City. I was also employed by the City of Culver City as a police lieutenant. I started off as a reserve in 1993, donating my time to the city while still working for my family's business, Pioneer Bakery in Venice, California. I think that the foundation for a good business community begins with public safety. That strong police department and fire department will help keep our businesses safe and encourage businesses to come into our community. That if you don't feel safe, coming to work, that you won't come to Culver City. I also think that solving our parking and traffic problems are key, because if people can't get to your businesses, they won't come. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And so now we're moving on to, we have 7 questions. And we want to remind the candidates that there is a 45-second time limit. And I want to keep in mind, it's kind of like speed dating. So you all are kind of watching the speed dating going on right here. A lot of shuffling and watch the ball under the shell kind of thing. So it's very fast paced, but I will ask the candidates again, 45 seconds, and it will be strictly enforced. And I hate to be the one to give you the All right, so the first question is, what is your vision for economic development in Culver City? And we're going to start with Daniel Lee.
Well, my vision for economic development in Culver City, I have to say, leans heavily on sustainability. If you go to my website, or if you've seen any of my literature, my platform is about environment, accountability, and fairness. And I think some key elements of those are raising the minimum wage so that we can attract the type of employees that do quality work. I think the fact that the City of Los Angeles, the County of Los Angeles, the City of Santa Monica, and the City of Glendale have all raised their minimum wage means that people will have a very big choice about where to work, and they can just work across the street and get paid a lot more money and be able to better provide for their families.
All right, thank you, Daniel. Next, second, Thomas Small.
I want to test this microphone. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
No. Is it working?
No.
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 How about now?
No. No.
Can you hear me now? Testing, testing.
No.
No green light.
Just project. Yeah, just project.
Yes.
It's
not that big of a room.
All right, we're going to take a quick 20-second pause for a mic check.
Testing now. How about now?
No.
Do you have a hand mic?
Speak at it.
How about now? Am I jinxed?
Better without it.
Now am I on?
No. Now.
How about this one?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I always bring my desk.
And Thomas and I, if you want to clip that on. So. And the question again is stated right in front of you.
Terrific. My vision for economic development in Culver City rests straight on the fact that we're down the street from Silicon Beach, and we're very much part of it, even though we're not right on the beach. It's where our future is. So I believe in nurturing that creative economy, in nurturing the atmosphere for high-tech media and creative businesses. And I think that happens through making the development that's happening in Culver City excellent. I think we have some incredible projects coming down the line that are going to help us attract those businesses. And I think that we can work to make our city friendly to them. And it's improving the quality of life for all of the city that will make it work for those businesses, and that will help drive our economy and raise the tide for all of us.
All right, thank you. Jay Garacochea.
Thank you. My vision is simple. Again, it falls back on what my basic platform is public safety and having a safe community for us in the chamber to do business in. Again, I have a long time business background with working with my family, and one of the things that we always had issues with is the red tape, and I think that the city should work the best they can with cutting the red tape and making it easier for businesses to grow and to attract new businesses to the community. Thank you.
Meghan Sahli-Wells.
So I'm incredibly proud that our council is devoting $10 million to a municipal fiber network. Culver City is the heart of Screenland, so obviously movies are a big part of our success and will be going forward. And the movies have changed over time. We're adding the tech and having the infrastructure in place is going to make us even more competitive because we'll have the bandwidth. I think it's a very smart investment, and I'm very excited about it. We've also expanded our business districts. We started with the very successful DBA, but now we have 3 more. Under the end of redevelopment, which I inherited when I was elected in 2012, we kind of have a new day and reinventing ourselves and how do we become economically successful. The chamber has been a big part of that.
Scott Wyant.
Am I good now?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a large pool of small business people who don't go to work. They are at work, wherever they are. We have a lot of people who don't go to the office. They have their office wherever they go. Now, I'm one of those people. At the Chamber's recent State of the Digital Economy event, one of the panelists was asked, what does a startup need? And he said, a roof and high-speed internet access. And the roof is negotiable. So we have high-speed internet access. As we all know, it's coming. It's not here yet. And we have plenty of roofs. So I'm going to push to make sure that our city focuses on these new innovative companies with shared workspaces, regulations that don't trod on non-traditional businesses, not flash-in-the-pan startups, but real businesses. I also maintain close ties to USC and UCLA, media, engineering, and I'll stop here. Thank you very much.
All right, you're on, Erickson.
Well, I think that economic development is more than community development. Economic development is to look at where our strengths are, where our clusters are, and start building on those clusters. We have a couple of clusters in our city that we should focus and build on. To create an attractive environment, we need to look at our infrastructure, because company comes because communications are working. People can get to work, get from work. They can communicate over the internet. We need to look at our schools. We need to look at how we can supply and how we can offer employers here, employees that actually can start working at a quick pace. So economic development is to look at the whole picture and build on the structures and the clusters we have.
Thank you. And then Marcus, Tiggs.
Thank you. As far as economic development, it is very diverse. We talk a lot about creative space. That is fantastic. We talk about broadband. That is thinking in the future. You do still need to remember the brick and mortar, the mom and pop operations. What the city should do, and if I was on the DS, what I would push, is we need to market our city better. The chamber is doing an excellent job. However, at the same token, the city itself can market itself. And I mean really marketing plan on steroids. Getting a marketing firm to bring new business into Culver City, and that'll help us sustain us in the future.
Thank you. Thank you for the first question. Second question. As Measure Y sunsets, what financial challenges does Culver City face, and how should they be addressed and financed? First one, I'm sorry, is Thomas Small. Thank you. It's you, Thomas.
Oh, Scott, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I like sharing.
Sharing economy.
Terrific. Does that sound good out there?
Yes.
Great. So the city, we're facing a number of financial and economic challenges in our city budget as we go forward. One of the largest ones that I think is important and that I think I can help lead towards solving is the stormwater management problem. we're going to be facing a tremendous economic burden in paying for cleaning the water that goes through Wyant Creek. And what I would like to do is I would like to build a coalition of every municipality and every jurisdiction that's in the watershed to help finance that. And we need to do kind of a public relations effort to demonstrate what we're doing and how it's going to benefit the entire region. And that should help with money.
Jay, your question?
Thank you. I think that we need to take a look at how we're investing that money that we're getting. It's given the city about $8 million a year in extra revenue to the general fund. And are we saving any of that money, or are we spending it as it comes in? I think that if we invest well and get a return on our money, we can hopefully end Measure Y and let it drift off into the sunset without having to go to the community to reenact it as long as we invest our money well. Thank you.
Marcus Tiggs.
Thank you. Measure Y, which sunsets in 2020, is one of the biggest concerns that we all should have, because there is no guarantee that the voters will again approve it. We could have outsiders come in and say, no, you shouldn't do that, just like we had with utility user tax. The $8 million is helping us get through. However, we do need to look at right now at cost-saving measures, because we're going to get hit with Measure Y sunsetting. We're going to have the stormwater, which could be up to 100 and some odd million. We have CalPERS, the formula changes. All these things are going to coalesce at one time. Now is the time to think about it and work on fixing it.
Thank you. Scott.
Thank you. Really good now? Okay. Thanks. According to our Chief Financial Officer and our City Manager, our long-term pension obligations are actually baked into our future budgets. So our financial position is not perfect, but it's important to understand that it's neither bleak nor is it precarious. In terms of stormwater, one of the more recent things that we did at the Planning Commission is approve the Costco project, which includes a vast underwater basin which will purify the water that flows into Marina Del Rey. Thereby, as of now, we are good for one of our two watershed projects. In terms of the sales tax, in my opinion, the sales tax has not proved to be a luxury. It is provided for services and provided for payment on things that we need. I think it's pretty clear that the citizens of Culver City approved the sales tax the first time, and if needed, they will again.
Daniel Lee.
Yeah, in regards to Measure Y, I think we as city government and as a community should work to extend Measure Y to make sure that once it's put back on the ballot, all of the residents of Culver City know the consequences, the potential dire consequences of its sunsetting. But beyond that, we should work to create a comprehensive sustainability plan so that we can apply for SB 350 cap and trade funds, so that a lot of the city improvements that we want to do can be funded by outside grants and not from city coffers.
And you're on.
Yeah, well, the Measure I is something that I've been struggling with for a while as chair of the
city's financial advisory committee, and I think that the work has to start now. If we're going to have a sunset in 8 years, the work needs to start now. How to figuring out how we're going to plan and balance the city's budget, because if we don't do it now, we will sit there 1 year before and we will be faced with a drastic cut or extend the sales tax increase. So we need to start the work now, and I already looked at that. So specifically for why we need the work to get going now.
Great, thank you. That was question 2. Moving on from question.
Megan.
Oh, I'm sorry, Megan. I had turned. Megan, I'm so sorry. Oh, yes, you're right.
Is it the right order?
No, I switched.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. So first of all, thank you to the Chamber for supporting Measure Y. It was really important, I think, to the voters and definitely to the council to get this passed. And, you know, not all chambers would support a sales tax hike. It's been incredibly successful. And as Commissioner Wyant said, You know, we've baked the sunset into our budget. Every time I see our Chief Financial Officer, Jeff Muir, he's reminding us every time we have a budget hearing, it's on every single document. So we are planning for it. Will it take more? Absolutely. As Commissioner Tiggs said, I lost my train of thought. The unfunded pension liability is a huge challenge statewide, and stormwater.
All right, now to question 3. Is everybody ready? Ready now? Okay. How would you characterize an effective relationship between city government and the business community? And I'll start with Meghan Sahli-Wells.
All right. Well, public-private partnerships are something that we're already pursuing as a city and will continue to do. As Scott mentioned, the stormwater Costco project that we're doing is actually being shown as a model throughout the state, even though it hasn't even been built. We've got this huge stormwater mandate. And because we were able to take advantage of the fact that Costco was expanding, by the way, the highest grossing Costco in the continental U.S., and our own stormwater mitigation requirements, we were able to partner together to maximize and leverage funding and make a project that's going to be incredibly successful.
Thank you. Daniel Lee.
I think to put it fairly simply, an effective relationship between business and government is reciprocal and symbiotic. A lot of the operating budget of the city comes from business. Without business, we in the government or potential government workers would not have the funds to work with. But we need to make sure that the businesses themselves also keep in mind the greater community that are not business owners and that are not business leaders, to keep a balance between financial concerns and community concerns.
Thank you. Scott Wyant.
I only have 45 seconds, so I'll just give you an example of what we could be doing. Public-private partnerships. The new metro project is going to eliminate temporarily a lot of parking next to metro station. I see this as an opportunity to try something new. For example, the Lyft company is now running pilot projects throughout the United States with, instead of private cars, buses that are summoned the same way that cars are and can be summoned by a mass of people in a relatively close area and then taken someplace. If we can partner with Lyft and give them incentives and receive back from them priority, we could actually set it up so that the shuttle service that the city has been trying to build for years can become something that we can offer to people so that they get off the train at the metro station instead of standing there, they get on a bus that comes to Culver City.
Stop. Thank you. Marcus Tiggs.
I would first say leveraging the brain trust of the chamber, setting up working groups to look at the issues that we have, whether it's parking, whether it's reducing the red tape for businesses to open, to continue operating. It's really thinking outside of the box. Things that we've done in the past don't necessarily work now. We have challenges that we have to deal with head on. So again, I would say leveraging the brain trust of the chamber is definitely a good start. Thank you.
You're on next.
Well, I think an effective relationship between city government and the business community is when the business thrives and therefore the city grows. I think that the city is doing a good job there, but there's a lot more to do. We need to start looking at how we're going to solve a lot of the issues we have. We have attainable housing issues, we have communication issues, we have traffic issues, and I think that the business community has a big role to play in solving those issues together with the government. And I would work very hard on bringing us all together to make our city run better, work better.
Thank you. Thomas Small.
The business community, the business dogs. Thank you. We have a special dance we have to do. How's that working now?
Yeah.
The business community, or the business communities, as I think of it, are diverse and changing and evolving. And city government and very importantly, the chamber has the opportunity to reach out to those new kinds of businesses and forge new relationships and new types of public-private partnerships. We've talked a bit about the high-tech and creative businesses that are here in that community. The architecture community is also hugely important here in Culver City. Many people don't even know that we have probably the highest concentration of great designers, maybe anywhere in the world here in Culver City. And yet it's a fact that's not widely known, and we have the opportunity to reach out to them and work with them, and I can help with that. Thank you.
All right, Jay.
One thing I didn't hear any of my fellow tenants say is
Communication. I think communication is key with an effective relationship between the city and the businesses. I think that we have strong leaders within the chamber, and that the communication with the city would help them move forward. I think that an aggressive approach at traffic and parking situations would help. I also think, again, cutting the red tape, to help businesses grow, that the city should maybe revisit things that the city has in place and give a little leniency to what maybe the chamber has. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now I want to remind you all, when you see the pink 10 second, it's really fast after that. So. It's really quick. 10 seconds is fast. So question 4, how would you balance the needs of the business and residential communities? And we will start with Jay.
Again, I think it goes back to communication. The biggest thing that I see is parking and having a good relationship between local businesses and parking that overflows into the residential districts, and coming up with a balanced solution. I think local businesses should maybe work on incentives for their employees to take the bus or ride a bike or carpool. The city does that for its employees, and it's a good program. Thank you.
Thank you. Marcus Tiggs.
The center of gravity for the way of life that we have in Culver City is the business community. 22%, not including Measure Y money, is from sales tax going into the general fund. We have 11%, which is from the business license tax. These things are very volatile depending upon the economy. At the same token, with this way of life, there are certain expectations residents have. It's a small town feeling, but at the same token, we have to reach that balance to the extent where we don't necessarily want to impinge upon the homeowner's rights completely, but at the same token, we do have to grow. Technology is changing.
Stop. Meghan Sahli-Wells.
So that's a great question, and it's tricky. I've been through some of these battles before. But at the end of the day, I think it's important to remember that the same quality city that businesses are looking for to attract employees, to attract clients, are the same things that attract residents. And so balance really is the key word. And it does take good communication, absolutely. It takes a very thoughtful process. This is part of why I want us to redo our general plan, parts of which were signed after I was born in 1973. We need to take a look together collectively to plan our community to ease those tensions so that we can all thrive.
You're on, Eriksson.
I see that the needs of the business and the residential community are in the similar. We need to have a thriving city. So to balance the needs, I don't know if we really are looking at that, but there are conflicts that we need to deal with, which is parking overflow into the neighborhoods. But the basic idea that a resident and a business is contrarian is not really true. We are all in the same boat. We are all looking at solving these problems that we have and moving the city forward.
Thank you. Scott Wyant.
I'd actually like to take that one step forward. In my opinion, there's not really a real divide to be put between the business and the residential communities, particularly in Culver City, where more than half of our business licenses are granted to companies with 5 or fewer employees, many of whom actually live in the residences, live in the neighborhoods where they work. The more we can encourage that kind of business, the more we can encourage places where people can work that are near their homes, the more we can encourage people to work in the city and live in the city, the better off both the residential and the business communities, which again are one, will be. And it's my opinion that I can help meld business communities and residential communities when I'm in office. Thank you.
Thank you. Daniel Lee.
Here is where I think communication actually is key, because though we do have a large percentage of business owners who live in Culver City and have small businesses, we also have large businesses like Sony and the Westfield Shopping Center. And all of our concerns are not always aligned. So I think it's important for us to have real community forums when large decisions come up that may affect both the business community and the community that is residential but does not own businesses in Culver City.
Thank you. And then Thomas Smallwood, if you would make the switch for us.
Thanks for your patience. Our business districts are often distinct from our residential neighborhoods, and we need to recognize that. But at the same time, they're completely interdependent. Each one depends upon the other for the quality of life and the vivacious nature of our city. And each one helps the other one. So we need to nurture both of them, and we can do that through innovation in transportation, through innovation in parking. The automated parking structure that's being built at Helm's Bakery now is one tremendous innovation where the cars take up 1/3 of the space. Using Lyft and Uber and others that deals with them is another way that we can have transportation without traffic. Sorry.
Thank you. All right, we're moving to question 5. It starts with a statement and then to a question. With Westfield, Culver City, and 3 major hotels, the Fox Hills and South Sokovia Business District is the highest tax revenue area in the city. This district lacks connectivity with the Expo line and most of the city. The question, how would you improve transportation to this tax-rich area of the city? And we'll start with Scott Wyant.
Thank you. Yeah, Fox Hills is actually kind of the undiscovered part of what used to be the undiscovered jewel of Culver City. There's a lot to be done in Fox Hills, and I think it's we had a seminar, actually the Chamber sponsored a seminar that explored the future of the Fox Hills area, which is just directly up Jefferson from Silicon Beach. So again, the best way that we can do this, I think, would be the thing that I mentioned before, is a partnership with a ride-sharing company. We've tried, and we cannot run shuttles back and forth from downtown because of scheduling, because we have to have full-time drivers. But a partnership with Lyft, with buses running around town all the time, if there's enough people who want to do it, then the business will cover it. And so I think that's an interesting. Not yet. It's just 10. Thank you, Michael.
All right, Meghan Sahli-Wells.
All right, well, don't I know that's a challenge, because I bike everywhere, and it took me a long time to figure out how to get to events in Fox Hills on my bike without dying. I found some good ways, so if you want to ask me later on, I'll let you know my secrets. But so options, options is the answer. Trying to widen the streets is only going to take away our sidewalks, which will take away the pedestrians, which will take away our business. We need more options and safer options to allow bikes and pedestrians. And don't forget our big bus depot that's down here. to access, make it a very walkable environment. Reimagine Fox Hills has been started with.
Stop. All right, Marcus Tiggs.
This is difficult. I would first talk to the transportation director and validate whether or not he believes added routes would help. Then we have public-private partnerships, which we could look at. It really comes down to talking to the stakeholders, Westfield directly, and people in Fox Hills, and get some ideas from them. I don't have a direct idea. I mean, it's probably going to be a combination of things. It might be Lyft, it might be a bus line, it might be some other public-private partnership. The bottom line is it's not one thing. Thank you.
Jay Garacochea.
In addition to what Mr. Tiggs is saying, with the transportation department of the city, I think maybe taking a look at the bus depot at the Westfield Shopping Center to see if there's any upgrades that need to be done or to make it more attractive to users. I think going, the communication with the chamber and that the businesses down there expressing their concerns through the chamber to develop ideas would be something to look at. I also think that studies of traffic and redesigning intersections like was proposed to council last week with Jefferson and Duquesne to improve traffic flow would be a great idea.
Thank you. Thomas Small.
This is really a tremendous opportunity. If this area can become even more of a business center and a focus, if it can have a there, I think it can, as has happened in downtown, I think it can create even more economic vitality. And transportation is really the key. Innovation in transportation is the key. And the way to solve this is to work with the developers who have great resources in design to help us figure out those problems. I met with the IDS developer of the new building at Corporate Point last week. They're talking about having exactly that partnering with a transportation company for an innovative shuttle. Thank you.
Goran Eriksson.
Well, this ties into one of my main themes is that we need to look at our public transportation systems as being more focused for commuters. Because if we're going to solve our problems with traffic, parking and everything, we need to get a commuter system that actually employees can use to get to work, that I can use to get to downtown Culver City, that I can use to get to the Expo and get further. The Expo line is sort of a central feeder that we need to look at for our city, where we need to connect our bus system or other transportation methods to the Expo and bring it out in the city to all areas, not just downtown. All areas need that. We need to improve our biking access. We need to expand on the Bayona Creek, which is a fantastic access route for biking.
All right, and Daniel Lee.
I think Fox Hills has a connectivity issue in general that goes beyond business, and one of the ways that we can improve that is by making it first more walkable and more bikeable. And I think we really do need to revisit the idea of having a shuttle from downtown to Fox Hills. I think with the city's centennial coming up, it's a great opportunity to put all of the neighborhoods in Culver City on display. And if we could organize a bike tour or a walking tour throughout all of our Story 8 neighborhoods, and particularly to Fox Hills, to highlight some of these businesses, I think that would be a plus, and it would get us on the road to where we need to be.
Thank you. All right, guys, we're in the home stretch. Our audience is still awake and live out there. You guys, okay, wait a minute. All right, this is question 6. There is currently a shortage of affordable housing in Culver City. What can the council do to encourage the construction of affordable workforce housing? And we will start with Marcus Tiggs.
Great question, great question. When we had the redevelopment agency, we had $20 million to play with to convince developers to do affordable housing. We don't have that now. I would think, again, it's public-private partnerships. I think at the same token, it is being realistic to people. To the extent of the city being able to continuously fund affordable housing programs, whether it's a renters program, it's not realistic right now. I mean, at some point, that is gonna have to, people are gonna have to get weaned off. Otherwise, what will occur is we are going to be strapped in a situation where people are still expecting it and we don't have the money.
All right, you're on, Erickson.
Yeah, I don't call it affordable workforce housing. I want to call it attainable housing, because that's really what we're talking about. It should be attainable for wherever you are in your life financially. So attainable housing is something we need to look at. And we need to start looking at how we can encourage developers to build the type of housing that would be attainable. We need to start looking at our codes. We need to start looking at the general plan. We need to look at, does a one-bedroom apartment need to be a minimum size, which we currently have in our code? We might want to accept a smaller size, meaning that we can get more units without massing the buildings. I think there is a lot we can do to get attainable housing.
Thomas Small.
We need to be innovative about this. Are you agreeing with that?
Yes.
And we need to increase all of our housing stock in order to free up the pressure, the price pressure on the units that exist already. If there are more options at the higher end of the scale, then maybe the lower end of the scale will stay more stable in terms of price. We also do need to increase our density, preferably near the transportation centers and working with the surrounding areas as well. Thanks very much.
Meghan Sahli-Wells.
Well, I've been fighting for affordable housing for the past 4 years. We've had some successes. Recently, we approved the Globe project finally with Habitat for Humanity, which I am so proud of. And we've been working with developers to put in affordable housing units. Some of these developers are in the room today, here and there, wherever we can throughout the city, for a truly mixed and diverse community that we deserve and that represents us. But we have a lot of challenges too. We lost the funding, but we haven't lost the need. Cap and trade funding is a very important source that we haven't tapped into yet, and I've been looking at through SCAG, my involvement with SCAG. And also in our TOD, we need to take advantage of affordable housing there.
Daniel Lee.
Well, as Megan said, cap and trade funding could provide a potential additional source to build affordable housing. But I think one of the issues is space. And one of the things that we can do is try to encourage more vertical construction, but also do some alternative research into the use of land plots, where now we see across the city, people buy houses, they tear them down, and then they build larger houses. Well, we could try to incentivize the opposite. So people could developers could buy a plot, tear down the house, and break up the plot into multiple plots and build different housing units instead of just one.
Jay.
I'm not going to sugarcoat this for you guys and try to pull the wool over your eyes, but I don't know, I don't have a lot of knowledge in this area. I think the partnership with the community and the city council and making it reasonable for companies to come in and build the housing and that the city communicate with them and what their needs are, I think is the good basis.
And finally, Scott Wyant.
There's not an affordable shortage of housing in Culver City. There's an affordable shortage all over Los Angeles, all over Southern California. As a planning commissioner, I've been encouraging the building of affordable housing in this city. And I'm uniquely familiar with the challenges. But in the 21st century, the division between living and working spaces is melding and disappearing. That's an opportunity for us to create some new places in a forward-looking city. We can encourage more efficient housing units in commercial areas, which we've never tried, or very seldom tried. We can allow live and work, especially in some non-traditional areas, perhaps even the Hayden Tract and Black Wilton. We can encourage the renovation of multifamily dwellings we have now so that they're more efficient. And finally, I would even think about taking a hard look at inclusionary housing, meaning that developers are...
Stop.
Sorry.
Thank you. And now, our final question of the day. What favorite project would you like to work on during your term if you are elected? And we'll start with your...
Well, I think one of my favorite projects would be to work on our public transportation, because I see that as a crucial element for how we're going to grow this city. To get our bus system to work with the Expo, to get our bus system to bring our employees on time to work. I have 2 employees who's using public transportation, and it's iffy if they're going to come on time or not. That's not acceptable. We need to work on that. We need to work on getting our biking routes connected all over the city so people can actually take the train and bike. So I think that the most important project I will work on is getting our communication systems working in the city.
Jay, your question.
This is easy.
For me, as a policeman, I spent hundreds and hundreds of hours on our city streets patrolling them. I think that I have a strong understanding of our community and our streets. Any projects that come before the council that are traffic related, I think it would be a real factor to working on that.
Thank you. Thomas Small.
Sorry.
Sorry, Thomas.
I am so excited about working with the extraordinary new developments that are coming into our city. I can help them be even more excellent. Just at the corner of Washington and National, we have 4 new major developments coming in. And there are excellent people working on them now, but the city needs to help them coordinate to make them work with each other, to reduce the traffic, to create the transportation options that we need to make them work. The coordination between those things is something that I can help with tremendously. I've worked often on the other side of those developments, including the new courthouse downtown, the master plan for the main train station downtown, and working on behalf of the city and the citizens. I can help make them truly excellent and make the city sing.
Daniel Lee.
If elected, I would be most excited about working on a project that Jim Clark is taking the lead on right now, and that's celebrating the centennial of our city. And I think it's a great opportunity, as I said before, to showcase all of the neighborhoods of the city, and along with the business community, to highlight our new developments and hold events to draw people into these new developments and make them have a warm, welcoming start from the start.
Marcus Tiggs.
My favorite project, it's probably a boring one, but maybe because I'm an insolvency professional, is to maintain the future financial viability of our city. With so many new people moving into our city, so many young people in our city, kids, children, we have reaped the benefit of past generations as far as this now of what we love about Culver City. I want to make sure 10 years from now that there is sufficient funds in our general fund to maintain the way of life that we have. Everything else without that general fund, it doesn't mean anything, because if the money is gone, a lot of the things that we're talking about that we love will not be here.
Thank you. Scott Wyant.
This is Ty. I'm the chair of the Transportation Committee of the Chamber, and transportation has been on my list for a couple of years now. And there really are ways that we can't solve the transportation problem. Like I said, it's a regional problem that requires a regional solution. But we can use some of the innovative technologies I've been talking about. And we can also move our businesses closer to where people live. And in the new economy, people are less tied to a clock, so they're less likely to be stuck in a traffic jam. But the real thing is technology for me. I graduated from UCLA with a technology degree in 1991, a master's in information system design. I've been working in the internet since before there were pictures on the internet. and I'm excited to see the fact that this is finally penetrating to every nook and cranny of the city, or will soon, and I want to do that. Thank you.
All right, and Meghan Sahli-Wells.
So I'm lucky I get to continue the vision that I've set out these past 4 years, and it's none other than making Culver City the best city in which to raise children in the United States. There's a lot that goes under that umbrella, notably the Safe Routes to School program, making it easy and safe for kids to walk and bike to school. That's gone from an entirely volunteer program to a program throughout the entire district that has over $2.5 million in grant funding. I'm sorry, 3.5. Eliminating childhood homelessness is a commitment that I started working on with President Obama's My Brother's Keeper initiative. That's a long-term goal. It's going to take a while to get there, but we can. I've ushered in an incredible era of partnership between the school district and the city.
Stop. Thank you. And so that completes our 7 questions, and we will move now to a 1-minute close by each of our candidates, and we will go in reverse order in what we started. So our first speaker will be Jay. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to say thank you for this opportunity to meet the Chamber today. Coming from a long family line of business owners and understanding business owners' needs, I believe that I'm a great candidate for the Chamber to support. I promise to have a strong communication and open lines of communication with the Chamber and business owners to move us in a positive direction. Thank you.
So this is an exciting time for Culver City. We're about to turn 100, and it's the perfect opportunity to take stock of where we've been and then to go ahead and plan the future. This town has changed a lot since I moved here as a kid in 1984. And I hope that you will support me in trying to pass a new update to our general plan so that our shared vision will make the next 100 years successful as well. I've had a wonderful time on the council working with my colleagues. We've gotten a lot accomplished. And I'm very proud to have all of their support. I'd be very happy to have yours as well.
Thank you for inviting me, as well as other candidates. And it's really my pleasure to be able to speak to you, share my thoughts, my opinions. Clearly, you folks are the key bedrock of our city, business owners. I feel that my skill set would fit very well for where we're going in the future of Culver City. Being a bankruptcy lawyer for over 20 years, I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly, the great in relation to business. I've seen businesses reorganize. I've helped them reorganize. As a retired lieutenant colonel, I've had staff positions. I've had to deal with issues that are well beyond these issues, though these issues are very important. I've dealt with life and death issues. So that being said, I believe listening is one of the key attributes that I bring. I listen. I don't form my opinion until I hear what other people have to say, and hearing from divergent views. Please, I hope you will support me and consider it. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you all for being here and for coming to listen to us. Culver City is a complex, modern city in the middle of a vast metropolis, and we don't have the luxury of having council members learn on the job. We need seasoned leaders who know their way around City Hall, who know the staff and the police chief and the city manager and the heads of all the departments. Someone who has worked with business leaders in our community. And above all, someone who has experience dealing with the complex issues and making hard decisions in public from the dais on TV in respectful collaboration with others. Someone who can hit the ground running. I think I am that candidate. I am that candidate. And I'm asking for your endorsement, and I'm asking for your vote, endorsement for this Culver City Council. And thank you again for hosting us.
Thomas Small.
Well,
It's the last one.
It's such an honor to be here before you today. I moved here with my wife a little over a decade ago, and we've raised our children here. We have 2 kids, 2 8-year-olds at Linwood Howe. We designed a very modern, innovative new house, and we can walk and bike everywhere in the city. I take the train all the time. The quality of life that's here is extraordinary, and and it's something that is a subject that I've worked on for the last 20 or so more years as a consultant and a writer in architecture. I've worked on designing and building cities, on reimagining them, on invigorating them. And I can bring that skill set here to Culver City to help continue the progress that we've made. As Cultural Affairs Commissioner, I've worked with the city, this will be my 3rd year, and in a series of talks that I hosted with some of the premier architects that we have here in Culver City last year, I began that process of uniting these business communities that I hope to continue. Thank you for your consideration. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Goran Eriksson.
Once again, thank you, Chamber, for holding this event. It's been stimulating. I'm sure you all gotten to know us a little better. I'm a small business owner and a resident in Culver City since 1988. I've been involved in a lot of aspects of the city, and over the last 3 years I've been the chair of the city's Financial Advisory Committee, where I've proven that I'm a consensus builder. We have had a committee with 9 people that mostly have worked on creating consensus, either moving them forward and getting the city council to actually adapt a lot of new policies. I've proven I can get things done. I think that's what you need. You need someone who can get things done. I also have the experience from my business to move things through different committees and processes. So I think that I would be a great candidate for you to have on your city council. So I ask for your vote and for your support, and thank you.
And then Daniel Lee.
Okay, I just want to start off by saying thank you for inviting me here today. I think one of the things that's been communicated over and over again in the responses of all of the candidates on the stage is that one of the things that people love most about Culver City is the sense of community that they feel. And I feel if we have a vibrant business community that is really responsive to its residents and works with and not against City Hall, then we can move forward in terms of the sustainable development that we need to make Culver City a leader in Southern California. I would like your endorsement, obviously, but I don't expect to get it. But I do believe that doesn't mean that we can't work together.
All right, thank you. All right, so as chair of the Culver City Chamber, I'd like to thank all of the candidates for attending this morning's Issues and Eggs at the Courtyard by Marriott. And let's give them a hand. For your preparation and your interest in serving Culver City on the City Council and coming prepared today. So I'd like to ask those that are not members of the Culver City Chamber Board of Directors, if you would all leave the room, you're welcome to gather in the foyer. The board is going to do a discussion and then vote the Chamber's endorsement. And so we would ask that you would just have a great day. We'll see you at our next Culver City Chamber event. And thank you all so much for coming this morning. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.